The Music of Ponyville by Grassing Clouds 2. Chapter 13. Desire. Pretty epic, Vinyl said. It had been a lot easier to get into Everfree Castle than Octavia had feared. Drawbridges had fallen over the moat, chains broken from centuries of rust and neglect. The gatehouse hadn't posed any obstacles worse than dust. The courtyard was overgrown, but none of the plants were dangerous, and Fluttershy had even reported happily that a few shoots growing out of the old pond had medicinal properties. Even the door to the castle itself had swung open at the touch. Octavia allowed herself a small smile. If things continued at this rate, they would have the elements in minutes. "Why can't we just go down there to that cave where that tree is?" "It's probably nothing." "Yeah, it's probably just a singing tree. You see those all the time." "Yeah!" Lyra swung a hoof around an ancient stonework. The ancient hall towered high above them, ceiling lost in the dim lighting that illuminated the floor, and walls that seemed to exist without any discernible source. "So cool! Octavia, does Cadance Castle look like this?" "Not unless the cleaning staff is on strike," said the cellist. "But architecturally, yes. This seems to be very similar to the castle in Canterlot." "Awesome!" Vinyl turned to Lyra. "Does that song of yours say where the elements are?" "Cadance left them in the throne room," Lyra again. "She put them there, sealed the door, and didn't tell a soul. They've waited there for eons until—" The group turned to look to Fluttershy.
"If she didn't tell any pony,"
said the yellow-coated mare, preemptively cringing away from the group,
"how did the songwriter know?"
There was a long silence. "If I came here all this way for no reason, I'm throwing you off the castle," said Medley to Lyra. Lyra shook her head. "Well, obviously Cadance told some pony later. Perhaps one of her favorite bards." "Why would she tell him a state secret?" said Medley. "Maybe they were lovers." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Though a common commoner, perhaps a skilled and lyrical wit, brought the attention of the princess herself late one night while passions grew." "She's a golem, remember?" challenged Medley. "Why would the tyrants have even made her capable of love? She was supposed to just move the sun and moon around and govern the nation for like an hour each day." "Maybe it was a native of the woods," suggested Bluenote. "We've already met Sakura. Maybe there was a zebra or a pony back then who lived there and saw it all." "Either way," said Octavia, "this legend's all we have." She turned to Lyra. "The throne room?" "Yes." Octavia nodded. "Assuming this castle is constructed exactly like the one in Canterlot, it should be straight ahead. We will need to go through 2 sets of doors." "Aren't there supposed to be traps?" asked Vinyl, head tilted in thought. You know, that comment becomes a whole lot funnier when you think about Castlemania. Lyra nodded again. "Nightmare Moon set one, and then Burning Sun, who teleported right past hers anyway, set one further in." "So 2 traps," said Medley, "all made by the alicorns." There was a moment of silence. "I think we could do it," said Bluenote, her usual merry tone. "I mean, we've beaten so much already." "We are pretty heroic," said Lyra. "Those traps are millennia out of date anyway," scoffed Vinyl. "I'm sure they were awesome back when they were made, but I bet we could beat 'em, no sweat." Octavia nodded. "In any event, we have no choice but to try." She trotted forward to in front of the group. "I can help listen for traps." "And I'll scan with magic," said Vinyl. "Medley, Fluttershy, Lyra, stay with us in case something hits us at ground level. Bluenote, you got the rear. Lyra, center. Light up your horn. The lighting here sucks." She clapped her hose on the ground. "Okay, let's go!" As the group began to move on in their new formation, Octavia kept her eyes half shut and listened. Nightmare Moon's trap made even the slightest sound. She would be ready. She'd hear it and tell the group. There was only a split second of warning, a few moments in which it felt like Octavia had walked into something very cold and icy, and there was only air in front of her. When she felt something pass over her, all strength left her limbs. She collapsed, seeing the others fall too. Even the Pegasi crashed to the floor. This would cause her concern, but she lost consciousness moments later. Above the sextet, a malevolent form seemed to almost chuckle. Octavia groaned.
"Miss Philharmonica."
The voice was soft and conciliatory. Servant, most likely.
"Your tea and breakfast are at the door."
"Door?" The cellist managed. With a supreme force of will, she managed to lift herself back to her hoof. shaking her head as she did so. She felt as if her head was swathed in cotton, although her vision and hearing were at least beginning to clear. "What door?" "The one that opens to the rest of your estate, ma'am. Will there be anything else?" Octavia looked around, and her eyes widened as she saw where she was. It was a home. No, not just a home. It was the home she had always wanted. She dreamed of it, idly made a few sketches of it in notebook corners, fantasized about owning a place like this one, but she had never dared to hope to attain it. Now it was here. The room was large enough to accommodate several bookshelves, each packed to the brim with scores, books on music theory, and records from the greatest musical performances in equestrian history. Near one end of the room was a large desk, replete with quills, paper, and ink. No better place could be found for composing. The wooden walls had no frilly decorations, and the shelves no silly knickknacks or trinkets. In fact, every single object in the room had to do with music. There were no signs of meddling sisters, friends, or even princesses to help make Octavia expand her horizons, when all she wanted to do was practice her craft. To one side of the room was Octavia's cello case. She hurried over to it, eagerly unpacking and checking it for damages. After all, when had she last seen it there would have been some catastrophe? Although Octavia couldn't seem to remember what it was. What catastrophe had she endured? She couldn't think of any. She had lived here most of her life, perfecting her art and producing the most amazing and gorgeous music ever heard by equestrian ears. Well, were the equestrian ears anyway? Octavia smiled as she saw an appointments calendar on one shelf that looked expressively sparse. No pony was rushing her to pump out compositions and perform them to sniveling idiots who knew nothing of music. No, Octavia knew she had set her own schedule, that she would only perform to those who could appreciate it, and then only when she was good and ready. "Anything else?" the servant repeated. Octavia frowned briefly. She had thought, for a moment, that the servant's voice sounded familiar. An image flashed in her head of a black-coated alicorn, with a mane like stars and a helmet like a tyrant's. She had never known such alicorn, of course. The very idea was risible. "No," she said. Then, cautiously, as if afraid it would be proven some daydream, "except I wouldn't know if I have any other appointments today." "Anything at all?" "Why, no. You have no appointments." The servant's voice was merry. "You never have any appointments." A few faces flashed through Octavia's mind. A green unicorn with a lyre, a blue earth pony with a tuba and a big smile, a DJ with a very stupid sunglasses. But she pushed the thoughts away. Whoever they were, they couldn't be very important. "Thank you. That will be all." It wasn't until the servant's hostess faded away that Octavia took out her cello and brought her to her desk. She grinned, and then she laughed. She still wasn't sure what had happened, but it didn't matter. She had the peace and solitude to produce truly amazing music. She had everything she always wanted. Her face a picture of rapture, and Octavia began to perform. "Do you, Lyra Heartstrings, take this mare, the lovely Bonbon, to be your lovely and wife, for ever and ever, all eternity, amen?" "Do I ever?" squeaked Lyra, hopping up and down with the joy of 1,000 balls in a candy shop. "This is the best thing ever!" She turned from the minister. And how awesome was it that she somehow wrangled an alicorn, one with stars in her mane and a coat the color of a bedroom at night, to officiate her wedding to her beloved. Bonbon was wearing a wedding dress of pure white, and had the look of pure joy on her face. And it was all Lyra could not do to embrace her right then and there, and hug her right into the wedding cake. Birds tweeted and sang overhead. A choir of bards nearby was waxing rhapsodic about the glories of love and pure happiness that could be found in a marriage. "Love is in bloom, a beautiful bride, a handsome groom, two hearts becoming one." The white marble of the temple of love seemed to flow seamlessly into the altar. The cake, even the wedding dress, the purest and most spotless of temples for the purest and most perfect love in Equestria. There were a few paintings at convenient intervals, depicting great love stories from the ballads and epic poems heard all around the world. Above, the fireworks were shooting all over the sky, leaving images that lingered in the sky for some time. One burst into a perfect image of Lyra, and another a Bonbon, then the third of two, intertwined, embracing. Now, the gallant Lyra Heartstrings and the lovely Bonbon are wedded. You may kiss your befriend, the master said. Lyra embraced Bonbon. Then the two were kissing and rolling on the ground. And Lyra had one thought before giving herself entirely over to the sheer joy and happiness that was coursing through her. The naysayers were wrong. The doubters were wrong. Even her well-meaning friends were wrong. Lyra had her Bonbon now. She had everything she wanted. They were in the cake. Lyra grinned and smeared a chunk of chocolate vanilla swirl to Bonbon's muzzle, then lowered hers on top and kissed where Newt figured. Another day of profits. Medley grinned and looked over the letters. All right. The Pegasus stretched out, enjoying the feeling of her wings moving about in a starched suit. There was a clean feeling to a suit that was brought fresh from a tailor, freshly sewn, perfectly sized, and tailored to perfection. It felt absolutely great. The proprietor smiled as she looked about her shop. Medley's Music Emporium, now the largest music supply store in Manhattan, and stopped to gaze at a piccolo and a hexaphone. Those were very rare instruments, only a few having been made back during the classical era. But Medley wouldn't let that kind of thing daunt her. She wanted one, so she ordered a few supplies and made it herself. She was secure after all, and could indulge in her craft without worrying about it leading to her ruination. She forgot everything else and take sheer pleasure and joy of creating. She didn't frown slightly. Why did she have that thought, she wondered, that she had once worried about showing off her instruments? She had always loved it, and when had she ever feared destitution? Maybe I need a vacation. I heard Canada is supposed to be lovely this time of year, and I certainly can afford it. If there's nothing else, Mom, I can take over, said the assistant manager. Medley nodded to her, smiling. This was a new hire, a black-coated alicorn mare, but she was an incomparably brilliant worker. In fact, as Medley remembered, she had taken over most of the day-to-day responsibilities of the Emporium, taking in the gleaming instruments, adding up the books, scheduling the practice spaces, leaving Medley with more time to sit in peace at her little metal shop and build. She had to remember this when her annual performance review came up. Yes, said Medley. She smiled at the mare. That will be great. I'll be downstairs. She did go downstairs, but not before going home and enjoying a relaxing lunch of bread, pasta, fruits, and vegetables. She didn't eat the apple core. She cut the crust out of the bread. She didn't even save the eyes for the potato to sell back to the potato farm later. She didn't need to. She had resources to spare. She ate her lunch and grinned, then flew back to her shop. In moments she was in the basement, carefully carving a shed of wind chimes shaped like bluebirds. She couldn't help but think, as she began to work on the wind chimes, she had attained everything she wanted. Bluebirds. Was there any sound more beautiful than that of the bluebird? Bluenote yawned and stretched as the sun's rays played out across her face. She felt enormously rested, like she had been asleep for weeks. It was a pleasant, yet still somehow drowsy feeling. She took the opportunity to savor it. Sometime later, when she felt like it, she carefully lifted up the covers and got out of bed. She checked herself in the mirror, giggled at her bedmate, and tried downstairs. She had big plans for today. In a few moments, plans were set in motion. A big bowl of cereal, with strawberries, bananas, kiwi slices, and a healthy dollop of cream, was at one hoof, and a tall lemonade on the other. Bluebird chuckled, tried to the portion of her breakfast, then indulged in a delicious repast as the sun continued to rise. She ate leisurely, taking the time to savor each bite and enjoy the interplay of flavors. The sweetness of the cereal, along with that lovely crunch, went perfectly with the soft, delicate banana and the tart, chewy kiwi. The lemonade was perfect too, with just the right combination of sweet, sour, and a faint hint of strawberries. It was delicious. When the food was done, Bluenote ambled down to her front lawn and lay down, letting the grass tickle her coat and muzzle. A neighbor trotted by, the new one, the alicorn, and Bluenote waved hello. Other than that, she did not move. She simply relaxed, enjoying in the simple delights, and the good food and a warm sun could offer. Somehow I don't think that alicorn is next. She wondered if there was anything better than this. She had, she thought, at one point in the distant past, harbored ambitions of rising to prominence in the musical world. But the thought was barely formed before she rejected it. What could give her that she didn't already have? Why would she want the hustle and bustle and endless practicing, the colleagues who screamed and raged and went mad over the silliest things? She didn't need her name in the papers, or a huge bank account, or to perform for the rich and famous. She would be happy just staying where she was, eating when hungry, sleeping when tired, without needing to worry about any of that nonsense. No, she would remain where she was. After all, she had everything she wanted. "Are we ready to rock?" screamed the announcer. DJ Pone 3, the most famous musician in all Equestria, roared in unison with millions of her fans. They thronged the stage, cheering her name and stamping their hooves. They had come, she knew, from near and far, from neighboring cities and far-flung foreign territories, just to see her. Because she was DJ Pone 3, and no pony could accept what she did with the music. "All right!" screamed Vile. "This next set is going to blow your minds!" With a horn flashed, it's a brilliant pyrotechnics. She perfected the spell. It could produce lights so dazzling no other unicorn could hope to match them, burst across the sky. Her fans screamed all the louder, "Are we ready? Yeah! Are you sure? Yeah! Awesome!" Final nodded at the announcer. Her first, but certainly not last, alicorn groupie. The pony smiled coyly and nodded at the mountain behind Vinyl. "Okay, now, for the first time ever, and just for you, I'm gonna play Volcano Rock with an actual volcano. Let's go!" Then the volcano beside her was erupting, spiraling lava around Vinyl. So she seemed to step through it like a mystic, shooting smoke through her lights that offset and contrasted with them perfectly, making the roar that would be perfect background for her truly epic wubs. Vinyl jammed, blasting forth the greatest music in all the world to the ponies who loved her and loved her work. Around her, volcanoes erupted, dragons flew, and cannons fired. All that she consisted of Miss Awesome, epic, or rocking dance to her beat. Final time had, one more time, thought she had gone completely lost in her music. She had, she thought, finally gotten everything she ever wanted.
Oh, everything is just so beautiful.
Fluttershy soared around her house, which was a beautiful little cottage on the edge of nowhere, for no pony around to scare or frighten her, no pony to be mean to her, or take advantage of her shyness. There was just her, and all her adorable, lovely animal friends. She whistled as she flew from her living room, painted a nice, soothing pink that matched her mane perfectly, to her kitchen, and began to chop up some vegetables for a delicious garden salad. She served her animal friends, which would probably only take a couple of hours. Then she settled down on her couch with some salad for herself, and maybe some yarn to knit a pair of socks. Her first feet did get awfully cold in the winter, after all. She paused, brightening as something occurred to her. She didn't need to prepare food for all of her animals any more. She had healed them all. Each and every one of them had been cured of their ailments by her expert ministrations. There wasn't a woodchuck left in the vicinity with a stud paw, or a raccoon with a broken leg, or a mouse or adorable bunny rabbit even with so much as a sniffly nose. She had done it all at last. She had given enough. Smiling merrily, she took the salad and settled down on her sofa as planned. Now she didn't have to worry about anything anymore. She could relax, rest, quilt, and play with her pets. Hazel, as she recalled, was due back from his midnight nap in a little bit. She could just shut her eyes and savor the sweet taste of the cucumber. Her eyes rolled abruptly. She might have helped all her animals, but what about other ponies? Cucumbers, she replied, could be pickled, and she was a leading cause to help out artisan picklers who were being pushed out of the workforce by mechanization and the import of cheap vegetables from foreign farmers. And there were the veterinary hospitals nationwide that she campaigned to save, the crusade to raise the pay of male ponies, and she shook her head, feeling a bit woozy. Her crusades. She had finished them, she thought. They had all been successful. The artisan pickle producers had been saved, veterinary clinics all over the nation were fully funded, and the male ponies had never been compensated. She thought she could just sit back and relax. Yes, she had given enough. Saved every pony who needed it. That was enough for her. She had everything she wanted. The spirit that floated above the 6 unconscious ponies was not Nightmare Moon. Not really. She was a distant echo of that alicorn. A small fragment of her torn off and set aside to guard the path to the castle. 1,000 years of solitude had daunted the spirit. So she was alicorn stock, and was immune to the ravages of time, nor did her own inability to affect the physical world. A nightmare moon had created her. She had been wary of making her too strong. That could have drawn her corrupt sister's attention. She opted for a subtler path, creating a spirit which could do naught but evoke pleasant dreams. The spirit could not throw a punch, could not lift so much as a piece of paper, but she could put ponies to sleep. Once asleep, she would make them never want to wake. They would stay there, sleeping through their wildest dreams, and a few years later, nothing would be left of them but some bones. The spirit could think, in so far as was necessary to respond to any resisting subjects. She was able to understand that this pony wanted solitude for her music. This one wanted screaming fans and adoring groupies. She saw one wanted financial security, another wished for a quiet life of contented indulgence, and a third saw true love. All these things were simple to grant. The spirit did so, knew none of them would ever awaken. The last one was scared, tired, and she knew she wanted to fulfill that thought of her obligation to others. She too could provide. Indeed, sighing in contentment, she wouldn't die burning and screaming, but stay in a state of pure happiness, happier than she could ever thought she lived another 80 years. On, the spirit thought, a small echo of Nightmare Moon's personality surfacing. They call me as wicked as my sister. Look at how good I am even to my enemies. But then the pony twisted again. The spirit was momentarily confused. She had provided everything this pony wanted. What was wrong? The spirit knew there was no need to worry. Whatever desire that this pony had, it hadn't provided for the first time. It would do so now. This pony too was to come, like all the rest.
Could I have really saved all of them?
Mused Fluttershy.
There were so many.
But her memories confirmed it. She had received thank yous and commendations from every oppressed or unfortunate group she had ever campaigned on behalf of. She had cured every animal in the vicinity of anything that could possibly be wrong with them. She had done it. She had finished. She could stop. But no sooner had this thought crossed her mind than she knew it was wrong. She had finished all her causes, but certainly there were still those in the world who were suffering. Those she never had time for. Now she had the resources and energy to spare. She could give to them, lift them up, and make their lives better. As she rose to her hooves, she felt dizzy again. She thought maybe she had saved all the others too. Maybe she really had made every pony and every other creature in the whole wide world better off, eliminated poverty, war, disease, and furthermore turned all spooky monsters into compassionate and loving members of society. Hi, Discord! Hi! Her memories of marches, chants, and glorious triumphs seemed to hear this out, but she couldn't make herself believe it. It was just too much. She opened her door and squeaked to see another pony outside. She was an alicorn with a very pretty mane. Looked like it almost had stars in it. And the coat-color of Beakley, her raven friend.
Hello.
Hi! Said the alicorn. I'm here for the Society of Saving the World. We just wanted to honor you as the pony who had done more good for all the world than all the other ponies put together. Her heart glowed, and balloons and confetti popped into existence around her.
Really?
Fluttershy could not help but grin.
Me?
Yes, you! The alicorn guided her back into the living room. You've done it all! Take a note off, Fluttershy. Rest in the easy numbers that you, and you alone, have brought light to the darkness, peace to the weary, and happiness to the sad!
Oh my.
Fluttershy smiled.
I hadn't realized I'd done so much.
Even more than you know. You should take some time to relax, you... But Fluttershy was already shaking her head.
Oh, I can't,
She said.
even if I've given a lot. Now that I have so much, I need to find those I haven't helped yet.
She began to trot towards her door. The alicorn seemed flummoxed. But you've already done enough!
I'm not even tired yet.
Fluttershy said, smiling slightly.
I can have a little more before I rest. I have so much to give. How can I keep it to myself?
You deserve rest, urged the alicorn. Fluttershy shook her head.
Those with resources have a duty to help those without. My parents taught me that. My mom's a teacher in a really poor town at the edge of Octavia. She's a great teacher, and she's working very hard for the students that don't have any other pony to teach them. My father is a member of the House of Commons, and he works very hard every day to helping ensure that Equestria runs well. They give their all for all the other ponies. I have to do the same.
The alicorn reached out to stop Fluttershy, but the Pegasus trotted past her and led to her house. She said,
With all those ponies' help, I'll probably have to go far to find those more who need it.
No other ponies need help, said the alicorn, hurrying after her.
But there's always some pony that can use a helping hoof,
said Fluttershy. But no! As Fluttershy walked down her path, the sky before her suddenly darkened and crackled. A fierce wind blew through the field, causing Fluttershy to squeak and jump backwards. The ground before Fluttershy began to break off and float away, drifting into the void that was the sky.
What?
Stop! Yelled the alicorn. And Fluttershy turned to see a pony as big as a mansion towering over her. As he spoke, her voice boomed across the world. If you leave Fluttershy, you will never again know this place. You will never return to the home you've always wanted, the life you've always wanted. Turn back now, before it is too late! Fluttershy looked back behind her, at her cottage, still brightly lit, warm and intact. She knew that, as long as she stayed inside, her life would be idyllic. She could do what she wanted, when she wanted, for as long as she wanted. Whereas, as she continued on, it would be dark, scary, and dangerous. But the ponies and other animals that she wanted to help, that she needed what she had to give, were all beyond the void. She took a deep breath, and backed up to get a running start. She heard a scream behind her, but when the alicorn reached her, her leg passed through Fluttershy harmlessly, and then Fluttershy was flying out into the void. The yellow-coated Pegasus awoke with a start on the floor of Everfree. No! Looking up, Fluttershy saw a slimy, squat creature, vaguely equine, looking like the creature they called a nightmare that Lyra talked about once. But this nightmare seemed almost pained. It screeched and reached a long, grubby arm toward her, but then fell over and dissolved. Fluttershy was alone with her unconscious friends. Fluttershy's hair stood on end. Her wings stuck close to her body and she trembled all over. She wanted absolutely nothing more than to just go home and hide. But her friends needed her. She looked around and saw the others lying unconscious on the ground. She nodded to herself, and then, though still terrified, rose to her house. Octavia was torn out of her dream by the sensation of water flooding her face. Coughing and sputtering, she wrenched free of the pony who was holding her and rolled away. Hi!
Sorry.
It was Fluttershy's voice.
I didn't know how else to wake you.
Octavia realized he was outside Everfree Castle, lying near by the pond Fluttershy had noticed on the way in. What? What happened? She asked, still coughing.
I think,
Fluttershy smiled.
I think I beat Nightmare Moon's trap.
Octavia stared. Fluttershy grinned before calming.
Can you help me wake the others, please? I mean, if that's okay with you.
The cellist rather sore barrel. Oh. Hey, some pony drinks me in water, my body reacts. Medley smiled slightly. Her face was a bit bruised. Final's reaction to being woken early had been even more extreme than Medley's. You're okay, right? I'll survive, said Octavia. She nodded at the others. Are we ready? The others nodded. Medley and Fluttershy again took to the air, followed Vinyl and Octavia in the lead. Lyra trotted behind the cells and DJ, horn illuminating the dim hallway. Bluenote again brought up the rear. 5 minutes. They had reached his first set of double doors. Octavia took a deep breath. According to Lyra's lesson, Burning Sun's trap is behind these doors. Every pony, be prepared. Yeah. Come on, here's no way around. Prepare, said Lyra. Let's break it open! Final smiled and put her hoof to the door. Both doors swung open immediately, revealing another hallway with a door at the far end. This one was more obviously dilapidated than the first hallway, with numerous holes in the walls, and ceilings and large piles of rubble scattered around. Moth-eaten banners and flags hung from the walls and columns of the room, and the reins of the old carpet parted like dust under the sectant's hoofs. The sectant peered into the room. A distant figure became apparent in the darkness. It was pony-shaped, standing perfectly still. At first, Octavia thought it was a suit of armor, but when she saw the slightest twitch of motion, she jumped back. Lyra, can you illuminate that thing over there? Which? That pony-shaped thing in the center of the hall. Octavia frowned. It was too dark to see, but felt something obstinately malicious about it. You got it! Lyra's horn flared up. 6 ponies gasped. Octavia could only gape in shock, and she knew he was not the only one. No way! That can't be. Octavia was inclined to agree. Impossible! That's to be continued. No! So, Fluttershy,
Yes?
feeling a little bit better now that you actually had a pretty cool moment in a fic and weren't just regulated to just running around screaming or having your eye cut out or anything like that?
Yes, yes, I am. I'm so glad to have a big part in this and actually got a chance to do something. Make you grass and clouds.
Yes, thank you indeed, Grass and Clouds, from both of us.